Welcome, one and all, to episode 35 of the Ketodontist podcast. This is your host, Dr. Matthew Standridge. I'm a practicing dentist here in Yates Center, Kansas, in the United States. But healthy smiles aren't my only passion. I'm also a certified primal health coach, and I am a certified fitness trainer through the ISSA, and now I'm a coach for the Keto Gains boot camps. So since beginning of 2016, I've lost over 90 pounds by adopting a primal ketogenic lifestyle to help correct my metabolism, heal inflammatory issues, and improve mental clarity and cognition. While this show has not really been seen to be giving specific medical advice, after seeing improvements in my and my family's quality of life through diet and lifestyle change, I was inspired to spread the message of healthy, real nutrition to my patients, my community, and now you. This show will also track my journey to even further weight loss and increased health, as well as help guide others along their own path to better health and wellness. So if you're new to the show, I welcome you. I'm very glad you made it over here. This show is really about clearing out the confusion with a lot of these kind of low carb, keto, paleo, health space. And for those of you regular listeners, I'm really glad that you're back. It's you guys, really the loyal listeners, that keep coming back. You guys are the backbone of what we're trying to accomplish here, which is really getting it out there, getting good, qualifiable information about really reversing a lot of these chronic diseases, this epidemic of chronic diseases, really relating to diabetes issues. And it's because of you good people that the show continues to grow, but we can't let up. We have to keep going. We have to keep cutting through. Every day there's more and more misinformation that we have to cut through. So that's really what this is about. And so if you haven't yet, please leave us a review. Be honest with your review. 5 stars is awesome, but if it's 4 or 3 and you give me constructive feedback, I'd love to help growing. Remember, this is a part-time gig. I don't make money off of this or anything. So, but it's through these steps that we reach more people and make a bigger impact on the world. And I can't do it without your help. So today's show is going to be a bit of a personal one. Before we get started with that, I am doing my live stream onto Instagram, and I have a few people watching. The wifey asked, is any idea why there's a fuzzy background noise? I don't know. I'm recording this IG on my phone, so it could be because of that, and it could be because of crappy internet connection versus the podcast that I'm recording right to my computer, and it has an external mic. So hopefully that helps. Alrighty. So as I said, today's going to be a little bit more vulnerable. I want to take a risk here. And do you want to know why? It's because I have a big concern with this fantasy, perfect life, perfect guru, highlight reel social media culture that we live in. We have a lot of fake gurus out there. We have YouTube stars and IG models that, because they look good and they can recite enough semi-accurate science jargon to make them seem credible, they get followers. But because they spout cookie cutter and sometimes just downright awful advice, people end up spinning their wheels, and even worse, backslide. So I understand the perceived need to be perfect, though. I get it. People tend to put their heroes and idols on the altar of worship, but just one crack in the epitaph and folks can rebel against you. So that makes it risky in a way for someone in this space to be real. And that's, I'm just being honest with that. It's hard for people in this space to show the struggle, to show the slip-ups, to show the failures. But it's important to remember something that Zig Ziglar used to say, and that is, failure is an event. It's not a person. So, and another piece of advice I've always listened to is when everyone zigs, you need to zag. So that's what I'm doing here. When the influencers would suggest pumping yourself up as this immaculate authority, I'm going to go the road less traveled. Hi, Heidi. I'm going to go the road less traveled and be very, very real with people. So, ketones or carbs says very few people show their side of failure. Too true, but that's part of life, and that's really how we grow, isn't it? It's not about being perfect all the time. We don't grow through perfection. We grow through challenges. We are the sum of the obstacles that we overcome. We are the sum of the challenges that we overcome. And so if we were just, perfect all the time and never had to work at it, that's, not to get too philosophical, but that's the way it is. So I'm going to be real here. So see, this diet and fitness stuff didn't come easy to me, and it didn't come natural to me. And oftentimes it still doesn't. It's still work. Unlike most folks with a weight loss story who didn't become overweight or morbidly obese until late teens or even adulthoods, I've struggled with my weight starting around age 5. And now I'm not talking about a little chunky. I'm talking about morbidly obese by first grade, weighing over 100 pounds. Around 200 pounds by 6th grade. Over 320 pounds by freshman year of high school. And I only know that I was over 320 pounds in high school because that's as far as the high school wrestling scale went. And so I really don't know how big I got. And so when folks talk about the pain of being overweight, the embarrassment, the low, zero confidence, feeling tired, lethargic, sick all the time. Guys, I get it. I really do. And especially when it comes to people being cruel. Fat jokes and insults by kids and strangers were a daily occurrence all through my life. I remember as a kid watching Goonies, right? Where they would make fun of Chunk. And I can remember thinking that I would have killed to be only a little bit overweight like Chunk was. I mean, that's kind of messed up, that I was so fat and so miserable that Chunk from Goonies was a goal for me to get to. So, and the thing is, I get genetic predispositions. I do. My mother had similar issues with morbid obesity as well. She was heavy all growing up and into her adult life. She was the only one out of all of her siblings that was morbidly obese all through growing up, even though they all played sports, even though they all played outside, they all did the same activities. She ate the same foods at home. She was the one that was morbidly obese. And growing up all through her adult life until maxing out, I forget exactly, it's somewhere between 400 and 450 pounds. And ultimately being very diabetic. One of the things that got her to go through losing weight was she's a nurse, and she tested her blood sugar, and it was over 300. And so that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. But so I get it. So not only did I hear the jokes of my fatness, but I heard the "Yo Mama So Fat" jokes as well, all growing up. And I remember one time while grocery shopping in the city, because we're pretty rural, and so we would go to the city to do our bulk grocery shopping, do about once a month. And this kid around 6 or 7 years old was just staring at my mom and I, pointing his finger at us and telling his mom, "Look at them, look at them." And we were both so crushed. And I forget how old I was. I was maybe around 10. ish or so, 9 or 10. We were both so crushed, but my mom put on a brave face, and the other kid's mom, she did come over to apologize, which, you know, was appreciated. She was embarrassed by her child's behavior and all that stuff. And child, he's a kid. I mean, you know, kids are cruel, but they're honest. So she came over and apologized, which, as I said, was appreciated, but it didn't sting any less, you know. All we were doing was trying to stock up on our groceries for the month. So luckily for my mother, she was one of the first few patients in the country to undergo bariatric surgery. Now, this is when they were still doing bariatric surgery, not the sleeve that's more common nowadays because it's more of a micro procedure, and it has some reversibility to it, not nearly as invasive. But even though it was totally invasive, it literally saved her life. I mean, she underwent surgery in the late 90s, and she has maintained a loss of well over 200 pounds, probably closer to maybe closer to 300 pounds. But and she's no longer diabetic. And so while she's always been beautiful to me, she's vibrant and she's healthy. So seeing where my mother was and what she had to do, I tried everything as a kid to escape that fate. I put myself on a variety of diets around the 5th or 6th grade. I mean, I was doing Slim Fast as a kid. I was doing low fat. I tried to live off things like rice cakes and non-fat frozen yogurt. And I played sports as a kid. I was always doing the seasonal sport. So it's not like, I mean, I played video games, but it's not like that's all I was doing. I was outside plenty. But no matter what I did, I kept gaining weight year after year after year. All right. So in 1999, Dr. Atkins re-released his new Diet Revolution book. And my mother ended up bringing home a copy for me. She knew I tried everything else, and while she wasn't pushing it on me, she knew I'd probably be interested. And that was the great thing about her, is that she was never pushy, and she was totally understanding because that's where she had dealt with the same thing her whole life. But she knew I did want to lose weight, and so anything that seemed like I might be interested in, she brought home for me. And so, of course, I was. I could eat sausage and eggs and steak and lose weight. Even, as a preteen, teen, whatever, I thought it was bull, but I could at least give it a try. I mean, I tried everything else, right? So why not give this a shot? And so I literally read the book. Not just did what people think is Atkins, but I actually read the friggin' book. And I was very, very successful. I had actually, right before Atkins, I had started going low carb by kind of adopting this grapefruit diet that kind of went viral, and I got my hands on it. So it wasn't exactly keto, but it was indeed low carb. And it's funny, now that I use Chronometer now, plugging my average daily consumption of what I ate into Chronometer, I was eating about 1,400 to 1,500 calories and 50 grams or less of carbs. And I started that, right at the end of freshman year of high school. And over that summer break between freshman and sophomore year of high school, I lost 70 pounds, putting me, going into sophomore year, around 250, I think. And then by junior year, I had reached my lowest weight of about 195. And my football coaches hated that because they liked me being a fat guy because I was a great lineman. They didn't like me getting down below 200, but I got down to the lowest was 195 in junior year. And I'd always been generally liked because being fat kind of made me get a personality, I guess. But now I could be considered one of the cool kids, I guess. And so I started, getting dates and all that stuff. So I found a happy weight around 205 to 210, 205, 215, and I stayed there through senior year and kept it off all through college. So other than developing a taste for beer once in a while in college, I kept it low carb and maintained a loss of around 120 pounds or so. And then dental school happened. And I wish I could say I handled the stress and lifestyle change well, but that would be a bold-faced lie. So I went into dental school, and then not only from the stress and lack of exercise, I wasn't moving. I was in classes all day. I was studying all night. I was in lab, blah, 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 blah. And then also I had professors talking about the evils of low carb. And so me being an impressionable student, paying ridiculous amounts of money there, I figured I'd listen to them. And so I kind of started ditching the low carb lifestyle as well. And sure enough, in that first year, I gained back 50 or 60 pounds. And then over the next 3 years of dental school, I gained another 40 or 50 pounds. So by the end of dental school, I had regained 100 pounds or so. And that sucked. And then after dental school and everything getting out, there was the stress of finding a job, stress of moving, stress of starting my own practice. So over those years from 2010 to about 2016, I had gained about another 40 or 50 pounds, putting me at an all-time high of 353 pounds. So that's kind of how I failed, right? Like, I lost 120 pounds and kept it off for years. And then I gained it all back and then some. And now I'm going back the other way. Getting back to my roots of how I did it before, but in a much smarter way, because I'm much more knowledgeable. I've gone through much more training, so I'm doing things in a much smarter way this time. But at the same time, it's slower. Well, mid-30s compared to, teens when I'm, hitting HGH surges and testosterone surges and all that stuff. My body is primed to burn stuff as efficiently as possible and to put on muscle and everything. So it makes sense that it's going to take longer this time, right? And then I have the same stresses that you guys have. I have the stresses of work. I have the stresses of money and balancing work and family time and all that stuff. I get it. And so that's why I wanted to have this conversation with you today, because I have so many people, friends, family members, patients, online clients, that just don't think that they have what it takes to make a change. And I'm telling you, that is BS. Okay? I am the poster child for fat kid genes. I am the poster child for metabolic syndrome. My diabetes runs in my family. I watched my grandfather die right in front of me, literally drop dead in front of me on his birthday party from a massive heart attack. I helped take care of my grandmother. She moved in with us, and we took care of her on her final years due to complications of diabetes. I get the genetic predisposition. I get the stress. I get the behavior change. I get all of it. And I get the pain. I really do. I get the... I just had... Here's another thing I'll share about. I didn't even think about sharing this, but it just came to mind. So I've had some people come out of the woodwork lately, message me on Facebook or Instagram, giving me crap because I'm still big. Because I have another 50 pounds I want to lose. And so they're giving me static of how am I going to promote health? How am I going to coach people if I still have 50 pounds to lose? And while that's valid, these people don't know where I've come from. These people don't know the story and what it's taken to got to where I am thus far. And so because of that, I used to think that was a handicap. I didn't want to start this podcast. I didn't want to start doing IG. I didn't want to start doing these videos because I wanted to hide behind a blank screen and I wanted just my voice to be heard. But I have embraced this as a strength because I can share my story, and every day I get feedback from people that I'm helping. And it's funny, half of my clients, not boot camp clients because those are kind of assigned in a different way, but my private coaching clients, half of them are pretty overweight and half of them are dentists or other medical professionals, not just dentists, but medical professionals. And I think it's because those two camps find me relatable. They know what they trust me. They know what I'm talking about. They know I know what I'm talking about. And also I'm relatable because I've been in their shoes. I've been morbidly obese, and I am a medical professional with the stresses of everyday practice and owning your own business and handling employees, handling insurance, handling patients, and all that stuff. So because of that, I think that's why I didn't really seek to be out in these two niches, but that's kind of how people have gravitated towards me, is because of that. So, like I said, this is going to be a shorter episode because I just really wanted to let you know that the pain that you're feeling, the embarrassment that you may have, or just not even embarrassment about the outside world, but embarrassment within your own self, the inner disappointment that you may be carrying around. Listen, I get it. I really, really do. And there are still days where I still struggle. I am not going to lie about that. And maybe if I just showed the best parts of life, maybe I would have, 20,000 Insta followers. But that's not my goal here. My goal is quality over quantity. I want to have a personal relationship with the people that I help and the people that follow me. I just had another person, not a client of mine, but just someone who reached out, and I gave them some guidance at the beginning of the year. And just a couple weeks ago, he sent me some pictures of updated photos, and he's already down since the beginning of the year 20 some pounds, maybe almost 30 pounds. And, he's down a few jean sizes, and he's not hungry, and he's feeling good, and he has energy, and he says he's better. He's a better husband. He's better at work. He's a better father. It's that type of stuff that keeps me doing what I'm doing. And so if there's anything I can do to help out, let me know, and I'd be happy to. But really, I'm not here to sell products. There are some cool stuff out there. I'm sampling some stuff from Keto Farms that's pretty cool. My homies, Tyler Cartwright, Rob Wolf, Louisville Senior, they have a great electrolyte product that's out right now called Element. And so I'm not against working with companies that make our lives easier, because with how busy we are, I understand convenience. But at the same time, all of this stuff is not necessary. You don't need to take expensive ketone drinks. You don't need to test your blood ketones every day. You don't need to do all this stuff. Eat real food, get enough protein, work within your carbohydrate tolerance. Some people, I love keto, but not all my clients are on keto. But we do try to titrate carbs to get to a comfortable spot to where their tolerance and their goals and their activity and their lifestyle allow. So focus on whole foods, nutrient dense foods. Get the adequate amount of protein. And most people are underutilizing protein. So make sure you're getting enough protein. Get under your carb threshold. If you're trying to be keto, drop it down to under 20 or 30 net carbs per day. If you and then also leverage your fat. The Keto Gains folks coined that quite a few years ago, that fat is a lever. So what that means is if you aren't trying for therapeutic ketosis, meaning anti-seizure, anti-cancer for some cancer modalities and stuff, if your goals are basically for fat loss, which the vast majority of people doing keto is, then you don't have to slather butter on everything. You don't have to have bacon for every meal and all that stuff. Go for some of the leaner meats. Cut out some of the exogenous fats. Utilize some of your own, more of your own fat stores. And so again, we had a whole episode on that there's no reason to fear fat by any means, but at the same time, we don't need to glorify it either. It's just a tool for you to use depending on the context of your situation. So focus on whole foods, get enough protein, get your carbs dialed into your goals and your tolerance, and then fill in the gaps with fat. So that's it. And if there's anything else I can help you out with, I'm a big fan of the strength training. So if you can pick up some weights a few times a week, awesome. Hopefully with spring coming, go out for a walk, get some movement, get some sun, get some vitamin D, all that good stuff. Get adequate sleep. These are things, well, technically food's not free, but it's not, you're not paying for supplements. You're not paying a doctor who's not a medical doctor, but a chiropractor that sells thousands of dollars of supplements every month, or you don't need to do that. Focus on real foods first. If you want to utilize some of these other tools down the line, great, but they're not 100% needed. They're totally supplemental. That's the whole point of the name supplement. And so focus on first things first, okay? Real food, according to your goals. Get some activity, move your body, be a human, okay? Start there, and then we can start dialing things in more from there. So hope you guys found this helpful. Like I said, I just wanted to basically have a very personal heart-to-heart, one-to-one with you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, if you like the show, share the show, leave us a review, much appreciated. And until then, guys, be healthy, keep on smiling, and I will talk to you later. Bye.